Hey everyone, I hope you had a happy Friday. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome with Breakthrough with Jeff. And this is a place where we live life with zero limits. My name is Mary Iro, and once again, I'm always excited to use this opportunity to use our time today to put Jeff on the spot to be able to open our minds to a level of awareness that allows us to dig deep and live our life with zero limits. So, Jeff, how are you today?
I'm awesome. As
Are you?
always, I'm grateful.
You're grateful. I like that. Are you
Yes.
ready to be on the hot spot today?
Yes, I
there,
am.
there
Let's
was a
do
sense
this.
of hesitation there for a second, but I don't feel that you have any choice. So we hope that you're ready for us. So
We're
today,
already
Jeff,
here.
we are
Mhm.
already here. That's exactly it. So, Jeff, today, what I was hoping we could speak about is your platform really talks about living life with zero limits.
Yep.
And I was hoping we could actually deep dive on that. What does it mean to live life with zero limits? And to kick it off, I wanted us to start with your interpretation. When you think about someone living life with zero limits, what does that mean? And when we say limits, limits in which area? So if you can start off by just sharing that broadly with us to help us be able to connect with the topic for today, we'll appreciate it.
Yes, gladly. So this is really my passion is
Mhm.
to help people break through their limitation. The thing is, Mary, there are patterns that make people successful, and there are
Mhm.
patterns that make people fail. There
Mhm.
are patterns that make people wealthy. There are patterns that make people uh, rich. Now, some of these patterns, whether in the area of our finances, the area of our relationships, there are patterns that we create limitations in the process of growing up. So we
Mhm.
set the standard and set the limit and say, this is how far I can go. I only
Mhm.
deserve to earn, $1 million a month. That's
Mm.
a limitation. Someone else
Yes.
feels that's a lot, my
Yes.
God.
Like, give me
But
half of that and
you
I'll still live a good life.
exactly, or even a quarter, and I'll be, because it's a limitation. We set limits. Life is about what is the lead that is above your head, and no
Mm.
one that lead you place it there yourself. And so,
Mm.
what I do, the work that I do is to help people create a new story, to help people create a new space we call zero limit. And it's a circle of freedom from any limitation that ever held you back from being yourself. And so I take my clients through a process where you can step into that circle of zero limits, where you
Mm.
know on that circle you are enough. On that circle, all needs are met. On that circle, there's a sense of connection with the original plan of God. There's a sense of inspiration where you're inspired.
Mhm.
You have everything you need at the right time in the right season. You are what people call blessed. Is actually
Mhm.
being in that circle of zero limits, where nothing limits you, nothing holds you back, no curse can touch you, no story can hold you back. You are the person, the image that God had when He thought about you. So that's
Mm.
that's what I call zero limits. It means you're not stopped. You see, so people cast themselves into limitations, but also people allow other people's curses to enter into their life and limit them. And
Mm.
so we are living stories, aspirations of people of what is possible for us.
Yeah. I think there's something
Yeah,
interesting that, sorry, go ahead.
the moment the moment you free yourself and step into that place of zero limits, your life changes and you take back your power. You can feel it. It's not something mentally you go into. It's something you go through your heart. The gate is not your head. The gate is your heart. The gate is it's something you feel. It's a freedom. The only word that can express it is fulfillment. You just feel like you're so free to be yourself, to express yourself, to say what you want to say, when you want to say, how you want to say, without judging yourself, without holding yourself back, without asking so many questions. Should I, could I, would I, how will people see me? How will they do this? How will it be seen tomorrow? No, you're free to be yourself. Another place, you're blessed.
I like that. And I think what's interesting is you say that this can cut across the different areas of life, whether it's your finances, whether it's your relationships. But in order for us to really embrace zero limits, I think one thing that I want us to touch on, and I think you've mentioned it a little bit, is what causes limitations. I know you've said there's some limitations that we are the ones who place on ourselves, but do we really place these limitations on us, or do we grow up with them? So I think what I was hoping to start off with is, in order for us to break through these limitations, it's great for us to speak about where those limitations arise from. That way we can be able to connect, or maybe my limitation came from this particular area. So if you think about limitations, where would you say, where does this start?
Well, so, okay. Limitations come from so many influences, from where you were born, who was your parent, how did they parent you, were they parenting you from fear or from love? Most of us were parented from fear, and so that will put limitations in your life. Who was your teacher? Who was your pastor? Who was, which place were they coming? Were they preaching from a place of fear or from a place of love? But I tell you what, hold on there. Wait a minute. It doesn't matter where the limitations come from. It doesn't.
As long as it exists within you.
They all exist. They exist within us as long as you make the decision.
That's a good
one. From this moment on, no matter where they came from, I'm breaking free. This life I'm living is not a life I want to live. It doesn't give me freedom. It doesn't give me peace. I don't feel I am in my best element. The explanation and looking for reasons. Because some people will say, oh, you know what, Jeff, for you, maybe this is where they came from. Mine, they are coming from the 7th, 8th generation. In fact, my great grandfather told the same story, and it's a lineage of suffering. Who am I not to suffer? Let me tell you, it doesn't matter how long, it doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter. The power is within you to make decisions. That's why decisions equals destiny. It's not environment. Environment doesn't equal destiny. It's not where you come from. It's the decisions you make. At any moment, male, female, white, black, whatever you come from, no matter what religion you come, you can rise up one day and make a decision that enough is enough, and actually reclaim your life. That power is in your hands. But then people don't believe they deserve zero limits. They don't believe they deserve freedom. And so we always carry a cross in our, secure place. So it's like we are delivered and we say we want to be free, but there's a cross somewhere we fall in love with. Some story. There's always that story we fall in love with that we don't want to let go. Yeah. Like some people, you try to help them in the process of coaching. They even want to fight you because you're taking back something they have treasured. That this is the only thing they know.
Yeah.
So they tell you, I'll come and get you. How dare you get me out? This is the only safety I know. This is the only. So we build our own safety place that we call safety, but it doesn't give us fulfillment. It's only that this is the only thing we know. Sometimes I ask my client, could you trust me? Let me hold your hand and lead you out of your cage. because you don't know anything else. I can show you the sun. Through visualization, you can see possibilities of a new life, of a new story, and I can help you create an amazing experience that right now in your cage, you may not believe it's possible.
Question for you as you say that, do you believe it is possible for someone to live a life of zero limits unless they themselves want to? To me, can you walk someone out of the cage if they themselves have not gotten to the point where they are aware of it, one, that they're
No.
living life zero limits, and that they
Yeah.
want to?
No.
So what we are gathering here is one of the first steps in zero limits is that you yourself must be in alignment and with the desire to, live like your true self, live the best life, and
That's
that's the
true.
breakthrough. That's like the boundary that you must break out. It's like opening a
Yes.
cage door, and then from
Yes.
there, it's now grappling with that.
That's right. That's right, Mary. You have to be the one making the decision that you want to live a different life. I can't make that decision. I can't force you out of your cage. I can't. Even if I do, you see, we have an addiction to our cage. We go back to our cage. And that's why some people change for 2 weeks and they go back, because the change they made was not lasting change. It's not something they made. They had made a final decision. A decision that you made with finality is a decision that, you know the word decision? Decision, the etymology of decision, the word itself, decision, is actually cut off every other option. Decision, yeah, decision, yeah. Decision is not, I'm thinking about, no, it's cut off every other option.
I am making
is this
a
way?
decision.
Yes, I'm going forward. This is the only way. Decision doesn't have two ways. It's this way, cut off every other option. But you see, people don't really make decisions. We are in between the crossroads and we want to take both ways. Decision is, this is the decision I'm making. I am a healthy person. I want to live a healthy, energized life. So I eat well. It's a decision. It's not decision today, tomorrow, today, tomorrow. It's a decision. Decision means one way. One.
But when we talk about decisions, let's think about someone who has the desire to live life in zero limits, but they're trying to open that cage. They're being pulled by a tug of war where their old self and their new self they want is conflicting the decision. And I know this is a little bit off topic, but do you have any words of advice on how does that person move forward, especially when you're in that? And I asked that because I've been there myself, and I think before starting this coaching, I was really in my desire is this, but then and I make the decision, but then I find myself falling back, and I don't know if there is how can they approach their decision as they approach that path of zero limits?
Yeah. So the first thing that you want to do is understand the value of your breakthrough. When you understand the value of your breakthrough, then your comfort zone in the cage, you will feel like, that you'll be driven to come out. But the other thing is to ask for help and never reach a place where you say, I've done enough. I've tried so much. I've tried enough. Because that's where people get to a place where they tell themselves this story that I've tried everything, and then what have you tried? Maybe one or two things. And you know what? If you try coaching and try, to get assistance from someone, but the first decision has to be your decision. And you have to fall in love with your breakthrough. And for you to do that, you create the vision of how does the breakthrough, the zero limit, you unlimited, you totally unlimited, totally unleashed from your fears, from your limiting beliefs. How do you look? How do you feel? How is life like? And then if you can have that vision, that will support you to have a reason to get out of your cage. But without the vision, there's nothing pulling you ahead, out of the cage, because The reason we call it compelling vision is it compels you forward to come out. But you know, without compelling vision, then you think all that you see is what is inside of your cage. But I tell you, you know, listen to this one. Listen. There is no cage dark enough for someone to say, for me, I cannot get out. No cage dark enough to keep you there against your will. It's only that we don't make a clear decision or get the right support for us to get out.
And build the value, build that value.
The value for the vision. Yes, the value. You have to get, what is the value for this? What is the value for my breakthrough? You know, because it's, you know, it's easy, Mary, to tell the story of limitation and have people, you know, empathize and feel you and understand and tell you, oh, I understand. I feel you. You need to find someone who doesn't feel you in your cage, someone that actually feels your mission and feels the better version of you and tells you, have you ever thought of this? And connects that to you and helps you to see that, so you can walk into the newness of your best version.
Yes, indeed. And I think so we've been able to define what zero limits is. We've been able to define where to start and identifying that our limits, it doesn't matter where they come from. It's really our decision. And we've also talked about, you know, how to identify the value, how to stay determined, and just, you know, tapping into the resources. I know you reserve this mainly for your clients, but, you know, we are talking about, you know, living life with zero limits. I was hoping you could share with us some of the pointers, some of the things that you walk your clients through, just very high level, 1, 2, 3, as you start that whole process. And I think this will also be a good opportunity for those who connect with an understanding of what that process looks like, that 12-week process you take your clients. If you can give us an idea, I think that will be a good step in just giving people a bit of an idea of how you go about the process of helping people break through and live life with zero limits, and what that looks like. Like, what are some of those tricks, that the things that they can do in their life to slowly start breaking through and living life with zero limits?
Yeah. So whenever you want to make a change, whenever you want to make a lasting change, you always want to begin with your identity. So that's why we begin in the breakthrough process. You begin by an awareness of this version of yourself that is the best version, the one that is at the tail end of the process, the one that you unleashed. So you have to see that, you know, for you to begin the process. So that's the first step. You really must see the version of you. Your identity must shift for you to really change. And then after you deal with your identity, you're a new person, then this new person needs to create a new vision, because a new person without a new vision, the old story will still come back. And so the next thing is the new person creates a new what? Vision. What do I really want? And the vision is about sustaining this identity. The vision is what this identity is seeing. The other key pillar is remaining in a place of inspiration, you know, where because without inspiration, without getting to a place where you can actually know for sure what to do for the rest of your life outside the cage, what do I do? Where do I go?
Correct, because you can open the door and then you're like, okay, I'm out. Okay, fine. But then
you go back.
You're gonna go back. Correct.
Yes.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So outside the cage, you need that sense of direction. Let me tell you, the best sense of direction is not a map you draw down. It's a gate you open in your heart. It's actually something you open in your heart, a gate where you step into a place where you're not limited by anything. You're not judging yourself. You've forgiven yourself totally. You're coming from a place of judgment. In that place, That is what I call a circle of zero limits. In that place, that is how you can get inspired. And in that space where there's no forgiveness, there's no judgment, there's forgiveness. There's no judgment, and there is self-love, and there is no limiting belief. In that place, you're connected to your divine nature. You're connected to your mission. You're connected. You know for sure what you need to do. That's why you read spiritual books, the good book, the Bible. It says, "Be still and know." In that space of zero limits, it's a space of stillness, because it's not space for your head, it's space for your heart. So in that space, you get revelation. So let's say, let me break it down to, let's say you're building a business. Your true wealth is in knowing what to do every moment. And you know, okay, this is what I need. This is who I need to connect with. This is the relationship I need to be in. This is where I need to be right now. So you're not doing things to please people. You're not doing things to prove a point. You're not doing things for anyone. You're just being in this moment of zero limits. And the beingness brings an awareness of what needs to be done at every moment. Whatever needs you need to say will be dropped as an inspiration.
I like that.
So no matter what it is, it could be finances, relationship. Once you step in this place of zero limits, everything, the universe comes to serve you. You become a magnet for the right relationship around you, for the right people, the right words, if you're writing a book, because life is about inspiration. Life is about inspiration, not about intellect. Intellect will not take you far. Intellect will not take you far. It's about inspiration. Inspiration is the true north, not intellect. And I know we celebrate, people say IQ, I what? Let me tell you, may the I stands for inspiration. Not any other intelligence, because there's the intelligence of the head, there's the intelligence of the heart, which now science is actually beginning to realize, hey, the heart has its own intelligence that is thousands of times higher than the intelligence of the head, of the mind. And so the mind is the place of limitation. If you're driven by the mind, you're driven by fear and limitation. But you come to the heart, this is a place of freedom, the place of living your passion, the place of being in, showing up in your relationship, in your true authentic self, without makeup and mask.
I like that. And I think you summed it up, Jeff. I think you've summed it up for us. If I would really recap as we wind this down, our conversation today, I do hope that everyone who has had a chance to participate has been able to really understand how we can live life with zero limits. I know you've walked us through the definition of zero limits. It's really understanding that in every area of our lives, we shouldn't have a lead. We grow up from wherever the limitation comes. We put this lead on our head, and the first step is for us to realize that we ourselves have make that decision that we want to be able to live lives outside this leads, outside this limits that we've put around us. And in order, by making that decision, then it's really coming up with a compelling vision and really understanding what does that new life looks like without the limits around and the limits in place. And sometimes as we make that decision, as we try to visualize, this is the best time for us to reach out for help. And that's where coaches can come in to really help us understand we are outside this limits. What's next? And I think, one of the things that you've told us is being able to really understand what the value is, that new place that we are trying to step into, really having that very clear will allow us to also have that value, and that will compel us to leave our cage towards that. And I think finally you've really walked us through the steps, which starts with understanding and knowing our identity, and really building our identity or building our new vision from that identity. And in that space now, remaining inspired. And that's the key, because being inspired will show us that direction, will show us the next step, and will lead us to that path of zero limits. And I love that you've made it very clear for us to be able to understand that life is possible with zero limits.
Yes.
Indeed it is. I don't know if you want to add anything that we've not touched on, Jeff.
Oh my, that's head on. That's head on. Yeah.
I like that.
Thank
I like
you.
that. And so Jeff, you know, I know that you have, you know, your coaching, and I hope that, you know, people will be able to reach out to you. I do know that you do offer an introductory session where you can be able
Yes.
to have a conversation. And so I encourage you all, as you watch this video, to consider the possibility of a beautiful life with zero limits. And that is the life that we all should lift each other and walk with each other towards discovering this place where we can live from our spirit, inspired and knowing what to do, and doing it in a way that gives us the fulfillment that we are meant to live.
That's right.
Awesome. Perfect, Jeff. I don't know if you want to add anything, and if not.
Thank you so much. You put it in a perfect way. We'll follow through because there's more to share on this in the next session. So keep tuned.
Awesome. Okay, well, wherever you are, thank you very much for participating, and feel free to reach out to Jeff for any questions that you may have around today's session. Well, thank you, Jeff. We appreciate your wisdom and sharing that with us today.
Thank you, Mary. Goodbye.
Goodbye.